Viewmasters, it's the podcast that we do. Viewmasters, talk about movies that we view. Viewmasters, my friend Eric and me Joe. Viewmasters, hey, let's start the show.
Hey, welcome to the Viewmasters, episode 334, on Her Majesty's Secret Service. A 007 adventure, starring James Bond as 007. My name is Grunenwald, Joe Grunenwald.
And my name is Schonborn, Eric Schonborn.
Hello, Eric.
Hello, Mr. Grunenwald.
How are you?
I'm good.
So formal. Mr. Grunenwald.
Everybody calls him Mr. Bond.
That's true, I guess they do.
Yeah.
This is a British thing.
Yeah. And instead of a pretty white cat, I have a pretty black cat.
It's true. He's a tuxedo. He's got a little white on him.
A little bit white.
Yeah, he's formal.
I'm always hesitant to call him a tuxedo cat because it is very little white.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is hard to tell that he has any on him at all.
Well, I mean, compared to the tux that James wears in this and the shirt that he wears with that, you're right, it is very little white.
Are you referring to the opening tux?
Yes. Very, very frilly shirts.
Yep.
Well, one might call that puffy, if one were so inclined.
They're
just in the front piece.
His, I don't know if it was George Lazenby's choice or wardrobe's choice, but they made some choices for sure.
Yeah, is it because I know like whenever there's a new Doctor on Doctor Who, they get to decide what their outfit is. Is it the same thing with James Bond?
Maybe, I don't know.
Like pick your variety of tux.
I mean, I feel like. And I'm not a tux guy. I'm sadly not a suit guy. I wish I were.
Right. I feel like we've had this conversation.
We have, yes. Probably numerous times over the years, on and off air.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I'm fairly ignorant of suits and cuts of them and styles of them.
Yeah.
So for the most part, whenever I see any of the actors playing James Bond in a suit of any kind, it's just like, okay, that's a suit, that's a tux.
Yeah.
But these are very distinctive.
Yeah, this one definitely stood out to me. Oh boy. I would not have been able to pick George Lazenby out of the lineup before watching this. Honestly, I'm not sure if I could, having watched a movie for 2.5 hours that he's in.
You know what? Fair.
Yeah.
I've seen this movie multiple times.
Okay.
There is a fairly interesting documentary about George Lazenby.
Ooh, okay.
That I would recommend about his life growing up and then his bid to become Bond and his choice in the middle of filming to not do it again.
Oh wow, okay. That's amazing.
But despite all that, yeah, I don't. Nope. He's just kind of a generic pretty man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess part of that too is that like I've seen Sean Connery in so many other things. Same with Timothy Dalton and
Fair.
Brosnan and not so much Roger Moore, but I still know what Roger Moore looks like.
Also true. Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, just I don't know. I had never seen him before we started watching this movie, so like. It could have been anybody.
So yeah, as I mentioned, he was only Bond once.
Yeah.
And he still continued to sort of have an acting career.
Okay.
But it was pretty much all just banking on his one appearance as Bond after this.
Oh wow, okay. Which he never wanted to do again,
I guess.
Apparently.
So his backstory is basically he got into just tuning in and dropping out kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he basically became a hippie.
Okay.
And decided that James Bond just was too much a representation of the man.
That's true. He's a total narc.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a cop.
Yeah, he is.
But I can't recall, though, if, eventually that came back to just bite him in the ass as far as regret goes.
Yeah.
Because, like, almost everything else is like some sort of spy movie or parody of a spy movie or parody of a James Bond directly kind of thing. Okay, so, yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yep.
I feel like there's a bit of maybe it's just I don't know if it's a trope of the Bond movies, like him sort of going rogue and doing his thing, but also it's sort of sanctioned. I don't know. It's a strange dynamic that he has with is it MI5, MI6, whichever one he's in. Her Majesty's Secret Service.
They never really come out and say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe in the Daniel Craig ones, they finally put a label on it, but yeah, he's
IMF.
Yeah, it's just sort of a vague government agency that he works for.
How cool would it be if this whole time James Bond has been part of the Impossible Mission Force?
I would like that.
That would be amazing.
It's weird that you bring that up because I've also been watching the Mission Impossible movies lately. Yeah. And I just watched 3 the other day.
Okay.
And there are a lot of similarities between these two movies.
There absolutely are. Yeah. Yeah, I just watched 3. I just watched 1, 2, and 3 a couple weeks ago while I was doing at-home Comic-Con coverage.
Sure.
So yeah, those were all very fresh in my mind too while watching this, and yeah, a lot of similarities. It's almost like there's not that many stories you can tell with spies to make them interesting.
I guess,
because otherwise they're just cops,
right?
I don't know.
And yet there have been now 7 of those movies and 26 of James Bond.
That's true. What do I know?
Yeah. People seem to like them.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's pretty objective that people seem to like them.
That's true. You're right. They keep making them.
Whether you do or not is a totally different thing.
I mean, people go see stuff they don't like all the time.
Well, okay.
Maybe people have been hate watching James Bond for the past 50 years.
Much like Star Wars.
So you've been watching all of the James Bond movies, you said?
I have. I've been going mostly in order.
Okay.
So this is the 6th one.
Okay.
So yeah, this technically the 6th one that I've watched, actually 7th.
Okay.
Because I jumped out of order last weekend.
What'd you do?
I watched the bootleg James Bond movie, Never Say Never Again.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Which is Sean Connery's return to James Bond.
Right. In
the early 80s.
Okay.
That is not an Eon production. So I don't know the full history of it. It's just the writer who worked on a couple of the early ones got into a dispute with Eon Productions, and there was a lawsuit, I believe, and he got to walk away with some of the rights to various portions of the James Bond movies.
Interesting.
And so I feel like in this the big bad villain is Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
Okay.
I think he only makes 2 more appearances in James Bond movies.
Okay.
Up until the Daniel Craig ones, anyway. And that is because that guy got the rights to him.
Okay.
And to Spectre.
Okay.
And so for 20, 30 years, James Bond can no longer use those characters or that organization.
Okay.
But also the guy only had the rights to the movie Thunderball.
Okay.
which I believe is the fourth one. And
The
also,
fourth Connery one?
yes.
Okay.
Which also, in my opinion, one of the worst ones.
Nice. All right.
So essentially, they remade Thunderball in 1983.
Okay.
And it has Blofeld and Spectre and all that stuff.
Okay.
But like, they don't have the James Bond theme. They don't have like the scope opening.
Yeah.
The shooting down the barrel kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sean Connery in his 50s returned to the role.
That's so strange.
Yep.
All right.
And I watched it, and I like it much better than Thunderball.
Yeah.
I likened it to, and I believe directed by the same guy actually. It's the Superman 3 of James Bond movies.
Oh, is it Richard Lester?
Oh no, okay, it's Irvin Kershner.
Oh, Irvin Kershner did Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really. Superman 3 is... Superman 2 is the one that's half Donner, half Lester.
Right.
Superman 3 is a full Lester.
It's a full Lester. Okay. For some reason, I got the two confused.
I can see that.
But,
But yeah. All right, because, I mean, honestly, as a James Bond movie in the tone of Superman 3, not far off from, I feel like, this movie that we just watched.
A little bit.
Like, not sure what if it wants to be campy or serious or both.
So I did a little reading up, and they wanted to do a more serious James Bond.
Okay.
It does not help when every last bit of dialogue that James Bond actually speaks is just a one-liner.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah. He's either introducing himself or delivering a one-liner.
Yep.
Or looking at the camera and saying, "This never happened to the other guy."
I mean, that only happened once.
I know.
But there do seem to be a lot of references to the fact that he's not the same guy.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help anything.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, if you want to forge your own path, don't do nothing but draw comparisons between the new guy and the old guy.
I feel like they managed to figure that out by the time Roger Moore took over.
Yeah. Because, Connery comes back after this one, right?
Yep, Diamonds Are Forever is the next one.
Okay.
Advertised at the end.
Is that a direct sequel to the events of this one?
I mean, in so much as it's the one that comes after.
Okay. Is Tracy ever mentioned again?
Yes, sort of.
Okay.
I feel like, so it's been a while since I've watched any of the other ones, and again, there are 26 of them.
Right.
I get them a little confused at times.
Fair.
Either Diamonds Are Forever or the first Roger Moore one, like, opens with Bond, like, at a gravesite.
Okay.
And it's, like, I don't think we see, like, the first name, but we see, like, Mrs. Bond or whatever.
Yeah. Mrs. James Bond.
Yeah. And him, like, putting a flower, and also one of those two, which is, like, one of the last ones to have Blofeld as the villain.
Yeah.
Is Bond seeking revenge.
Yeah.
So it references in that much.
Gotcha.
And I believe some other ones give like a vague notion of Bond having been married once.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, there's not a lot of tight continuity.
I didn't think that there was, so when something as major happens as, the villain gets away.
Right.
And murders Bond's new wife. When that happened, I was just curious, but I kind of figured it would be like the episodes of like the original Star Trek, or I assume of Bonanza, just based on listening to Bananas for Bonanza, where like someone meets someone and falls in love with them, and then before the end of the episode they die tragically, and Kirk or whoever is sad, and then they never talk about it ever again. And the next week they meet someone new and fall madly in love with them.
Well, sure, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and maybe that's just the '60s, man.
I mean, sorta. And I mean, clearly, as we see in this movie, Bond is not particularly, faithful,
right,
or prone to sentimentality.
Yeah, well, I mean, so if you're talking about going through the girls at the at whatever the place was called, it's
Blofeld's house,
Viz Gloria, I think is what it was called.
Yeah, Viz Gloria.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't know that he was going to see Tracy again.
Well,
like he assumed that she was just gone. That's how I read that.
No, I felt like he had full plans to go back to her. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I thought when he ran into her in the ice rink, I was like, oh, that's real nice. They didn't think they were going to see each other again.
I don't know. Maybe that was one of the parts where I dozed. I don't know.
I mean, it was also an hour and a half from the last time that we had seen her on screen.
Very true.
So, like, I'd sort of forgotten about her, admittedly.
This movie is very long.
Maybe that's why they made it so long, so you would forget about her. So you are experiencing it the way that James is.
Oh, could be. No, yeah. The what I walked away from was that, he just... he had fallen for Tracy, and but he still had his mission that he needed to accomplish, and once he did that, he was going to go back.
That's fair.
So, but it was just a surprise that she showed up to save him, spiritually and physically.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay, I can get behind that.
But also, yeah, he just fucked around,
Oh yeah.
With just random strange women.
Women who I feel like were in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, not great.
I don't feel great about any of what happened at the Institute.
Now, listen. Again, I've watched 6 others of these prior to this.
Yeah.
It's one of the least rapey James Bond movies.
Okay. Interesting. Yikes. I mean, you're right. There's nothing really rapey about it, but I do feel like, I'm uncomfortable with he's the only man in town. Like, it's clearly some dude wrote this, like, yeah, and he gets there and it's nothing but hot chicks.
Well,
and they all want to bang him.
I mean, it was all dudes, back then. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the part that I feel skeeved out by.
I mean, that's fair, but admittedly, they all come on to him.
They do all come on to him.
So, yeah.
He also, like, pointedly, we see seduces at least 2 of them in the exact same way.
Yeah.
And it's real weird.
He's doing a Jack Tripper.
Yeah. Is that what he does?
Kinda.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, more of a Larry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels more right. Just based on my limited knowledge of Three's Company. Oh boy, can we talk about the action sequences in this?
Sure.
Oh, they're awful. Just the way that the fight scenes are edited is awful.
They're not great. So the first time that I watched this movie, I thought the opposite.
Okay.
I was like, wow, the action scenes in this are a real improvement.
Okay.
Over the Connery ones, which I always felt were sort of just stunted and sort of, just middle-aged men just sort of, kind of pawing at each other.
Sure.
And this felt, frenetic and there was a lot of just bombast to them.
Yeah.
But no, they're just clumsy and poorly edited, poorly shot.
So much sped up film.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I don't know if it's weird or not, but the director of this movie was the editor of the previous James Bond films.
Okay.
In his directorial debut. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sped up film, particularly during the opening beach sequence, just reminded me of the Monkees. It's like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like the Monkees. That's interesting.
I mean, same time period.
It is, yeah.
Maybe it was a style at the time.
Maybe.
But it also goes back to your point of not being able to decide whether this is camp or serious.
Yeah.
I started this evening with the memories of I enjoy this movie.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. and after watching it, I was like, yeah, this is not so great.
I mean, I didn't hate it.
Not
at all.
It's still by far definitely not the worst.
Yeah, it's entirely too long.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I guess, you need the length to establish the relationship between James and Tracy
right
before she disappears, and then so when she comes back later, it's meaningful.
Right.
Could have cut some of the patient seduction, like maybe just imply a couple of the other ones, maybe just show one of them.
Right. We really only need to see the one where Blofeld is basically hypnotizing them.
Yeah.
To give us a clue as to his eventual nefarious plan, which is a weird plan.
It is a weird plan, and we don't really even know how it works specifically with these particular women.
Yeah.
Like, what role do they play in this?
I mean,
is it like because he gives them like the perfume sets,
right?
And then one of them is a nebulizer, which is just like a spray bottle, right?
I think, yeah.
So, like, maybe does that have whatever virus in it that he's going to develop the vaccines for? I don't know.
I feel like at least with the Ruby girl,
yeah.
She reveals that her family is like chicken billionaires.
Yeah.
So, and she's allergic to chicken.
Yeah.
So I feel like he is curing her so that she can go back and then infect the chickens.
That makes sense.
Which would go out and infect more people.
Yeah.
Which, going back to Mission Impossible, I believe this is the plot to Mission Impossible 2.
I believe you're right, yes.
The worst one of that.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, I remembered that there was some vaccine component to Mission Impossible 2, because I remember thinking Joe Rogan was right, but I'd forgotten the specifics of it. Yeah, the Blofeld's plan is vaccines, so I guess the moral of this movie is don't get vaccinated.
Yep. It's a lesson we've all learned.
Yeah, don't get the jab. Jib the jab. Is that their slogan? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, huh?
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Ugh.
Can I talk about Mission Impossible again for just a moment?
Absolutely.
So 2 and 3 are both pretty heavily wrapped around a romantic subplot in those movies.
Yes.
And they don't work.
Yeah.
Because Tom Cruise is just he is the very definition of anti-sexuality.
Oh yeah, no, he has no chemistry with either Tandy Newton or
Michelle Monaghan.
Yeah, none at all.
Yeah.
I sort of felt that way here too.
Yep.
Like Lazenby and Diana Rigg have zero chemistry at all.
I feel like, especially at the end, during their wedding scene, she despises him.
Yes. I did half expect her to end up having been brainwashed by Blofeld, and she was going to turn on him,
right?
Which is admittedly is a very Austin Powers solution to how do we get him out of being married,
right?
She was a fembot the whole time.
I mean, it's a very plausible, plot that could have happened.
Yeah.
Instead, they just shoot her in the head.
Yeah. Like you do.
Yep.
End of movie. Holy shit, this movie ends on a downer.
Could you imagine in 1969?
Like going to the movies?
Going to the movies, being a huge James Bond fan. You've watched 5 of these previously.
Yeah.
Here's this new guy. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah.
He gets married. Wow, that's crazy.
That is nuts.
James Bond he's a ladies' man. He's going to get tied down forever?
Yeah.
What the fuck? She's dead?
Did Connery read the script to this and be like, I ain't doing that? Because, like, there's stuff in this that I absolutely could not see him doing. Like, falling in love with someone, believably.
Sure.
Or, crying over their dead body at the end. Sean Connery does not shed tears. Neither does John Connery, who is no one that exists in the world, but is also the leader of the future resistance against the Terminators. Skynet, if you will. Anyway. Yeah, I just, I kept thinking about Sean Connery doing some of the things that Lazenby does in this movie.
Right.
I just can't see it.
Like wearing a kilt.
Yes.
Which I'm sure Sean Connery actually did.
Probably,
He's Scottish.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hilly.
I will say, I enjoyed him as Hilly.
I did too.
He pulled that off pretty well.
That was a very entertaining sequence.
Yeah. But as James Bond, not so much.
Yeah, he also had a real Clark Kent vibe.
Yeah.
The glasses, like he looked like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
So I do know that On Her Majesty's Secret Service was the first James Bond novel that came out after they started making the movies. And apparently, like, the novel, like, kind of makes fun of the movies a little bit.
Awesome.
Because I guess Ian Fleming's a real dick.
Yeah, okay. Alright.
He's kind of James Bondy.
Yeah.
James Bond is kind of a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I
mean, especially with goes to a secluded mountain hideaway filled with beautiful women who all want to fuck him.
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
Yeah. And also...
Screenwriter insert.
This is the one movie that follows the novel pretty closely.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah. That's why there are no gadgets or anything like that throughout it.
Okay.
Or very few gadgets anyway. But they planned on making this like the 4th movie.
Okay.
So it was like written and ready to go like numerous times while they were filming the prior Sean Connery movies. So I would assume at one point Connery had read the script.
Yeah.
But yeah, during You Only Live Twice, like he decided that I'm out.
Okay.
During the filming of that movie. I guess Bond just decided in the middle of a movie, like, nah, I'm done.
Interesting. Like Bond himself.
Yes. You mentioned the rogue thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that really only... Like, it happens in almost every of the Daniel Craig ones.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But, yeah, I feel like at least the Roger Moores, he's full for Queen and Country,
okay. Gotcha.
So I feel like this was the kind of the first one where he decides that screw all this, I'm going out on my own.
Only I can stop Blofeld.
Yes.
Dirty Harry style.
Yep. I also think this is the first James Bond movie that had snow.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is essentially James Bond Winter Sports Edition.
Yeah. Like all the other ones are in tropical islands or whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
Maybe that's why Connery didn't want to do it.
It's possible.
It's just too cold.
They did film in Switzerland on
Yeah.
location, so maybe he just didn't want to ski.
Maybe he can't ski.
It's possible.
Maybe that's his terrible secret.
I mean, clearly George Lazenby can't either because of all the blue screen.
Right.
Or rear projection,
Yeah,
as it were.
whatever screen. those whole sequences, because there are multiple skiing sequences, are rough.
It's kind of the same problem I had with Thunderball, which the thing with that one was that they did the technology for underwater filming had just been invented.
Okay.
And they said, well, let's fucking do that.
Yeah.
Which then requires everyone who's underwater being filmed to be wearing full body,
scuba
gear and diving suits.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge action sequence happening, all very slow because it's underwater.
Right.
And you can't tell who the fuck is who because everybody looks the same.
Yeah.
And
I did appreciate that James wore a different color snowsuit
than
everyone else.
So, but yeah, the skiing scenes are kind of like that, a little bit more improved, but also just incomprehensible for the most part.
Yeah.
And as you said, just too many.
Yeah, why there didn't need to be two.
Yeah.
One was enough.
Yeah. And then that's not even including Pavlov's bobsled.
That's true. Pavlov's or Chekhov's bobsleds?
Both.
I did not salivate when I saw the bobsleds.
Well, I did.
Did you? Interesting.
I just have a different reaction.
I guess. That's interesting, yeah.
Chekhov's. Fuck me.
Chekhov's dog is who comes in at the end to rescue James.
That is true. So.
No, we didn't see that dog earlier, I don't think.
Nope.
But I loved that dog.
Yeah, he's great. I'm just real pissed right now.
I'm sorry.
It's alright.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just angry. Just fuck everything.
Are we done? Is the podcast over? Oh no.
It might be.
Okay, that's fair.
It was a cute dog. God
it
damn
was
it.
a very good St. Bernard's.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
You did, absolutely. Yeah. Just hanging out.
Yeah, also, during the bobsled scene, Blofeld gets caught on a tree branch.
Yeah.
But the ending would indicate that apparently nobody ever decided to go back for him.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I thought that he was dead.
No,
I assumed that because he got caught by the neck.
Right.
So I assumed that his neck broke. He's dead.
He was still kind of moving around when they cut back to him for a split second.
Might have just been twitching.
It's fair.
I might have not been watching that closely.
Also fair. It's a long movie.
Yeah. But, James had time for a one-liner that I don't remember, so,
Something, just got caught hanging or something like
he
that.
Got hung up, or he got tree tied.
Branched off.
Branched off might have been actually what it was, yeah.
Whatever it was terrible.
It was horrible. You're on a speeding bobsled, sir. You don't have time for this.
There needs to be an artistry to action heroes given one-liners.
Agreed.
And this was not it.
Yeah. And
again, every single one of his lines is something like that. It is execrable.
It's a one-liner or innuendo.
Yep. Did not care for it. Boy, you could just never tell that George Lazenby had no prior acting experience.
Did he really? He had none?
None.
That's amazing. How the fuck do you become James Bond having never acted before? What?
Yep.
What?
He wanted it.
That's crazy. Okay, I need to watch this documentary.
You really do.
Yeah.
Either that or I would also recommend there's an episode of The Dollop where they talk about his life.
Okay.
So that is also pretty good listening.
Okay.
Covers a lot of the same ground.
Nice. All right. I will look for one or both of those things. Oh boy.
Not the best of the James Bond movies.
I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fun in a way, and
I like Diana Rigg a lot.
She's pretty great.
Yeah.
I like Telly Savalas.
Yeah.
Very
no lollipop, but otherwise he was good.
Yeah, well, he had a cigarette. So
yeah, that's true. I had no idea that Dr. Evil was based on the look for Dr. Evil was based on another character.
Yep.
So that was a surprise to me.
So All right, so you sort of asked about the continuity between movies.
Yeah.
So here lies my one issue, and I don't care about this kind of stuff usually, but consistency is good.
Sure.
It's like Grant Morrison's approach to the X-Men when he wrote it was super consistency, not continuity.
Yeah.
Blofeld and Blofeld nuts already.
Had they?
Yeah.
I wondered. Okay.
I believe this is at least the second or third of the Bond movies, of Connery's movies, where Blofeld makes an on-screen appearance.
Okay.
He'd always been sort of in the background, or like Dr. Claw, you would see like a back and an arm and a cat.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And I think it was You Only Live Twice, which was the previous one.
Yeah.
Where it's definitely they meet.
Okay.
And he is played by Donald Pleasance in that film.
Weird.
Yeah, he was played by different actors every single time.
Every time? That sucks.
Yeah. And the Donald Pleasance version has like a scar over his eye.
Okay.
And like one of his eyes is blind.
Gotcha.
He is wearing like that kind of gray-blue Nehru jacket.
Okay.
That is the Dr. Evil.
That's Dr. Evil. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's sort of what he's wearing the first time we see him.
A little bit,
in this
yeah.
one, too. Interesting.
Yep.
So strange. All right. I mean, they were both different actors. They'd never met before.
It's true.
So, it counts.
So, yeah. So then that was like the whole thing for me. Like, and I hate this theory to the bitter ends of the earth.
Yeah.
That the James Bond 007 is just a number that changes from person to person.
Yeah.
Hate it.
That it's a title that's passed down.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Don't like it. But
it sounds like there's some canonical evidence.
Right?
Interesting.
But yeah, I refuse to believe that. So I think it's just somebody fucked up in the writing. But then again, also it was written before that movie, so
that's true.
They probably just didn't change the script.
They forgot.
How I Met Your Mother.
Why would you bring that up? That is not necessary.
So
We were having a perfectly nice time.
It was on the other day, and it just brought up all those
Don't do
feelings
that.
again.
Don't do that to yourself. Ugh. James Bond. I had seen, I think I told you last week, I'd seen Dr. No.
Yeah.
And I'd seen Goldeneye. And I'd seen Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. And then I feel like after Skyfall, I was like, oh, that was really good. I'm good. Or I just never got around to seeing Spectre, because that was the next one after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is my sixth Bond movie.
All right. Well,
So-
it is the sixth Bond movie.
perfect.
So, all right.
I'm back on track.
A lot of people dislike Spectre.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. So when I decided to start rewatching these, my girlfriend asked me, well, are they any good?
Yeah.
And my response was, there are 26 of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Your mileage may vary.
Yep. Especially like when you're dealing with movies made in the 60s and 70s, there's going to be a lot of racism and a lot of misogyny.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to get over it.
Yeah. I was I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but there is one black character in this movie.
Yeah.
And he only just grunts, basically. Has
Yeah.
no dialogue.
That's kind of a trope.
It was strange.
Although I think Dr. No, there's a couple black characters who have full lines and
Wow.
roles and
Crazy.
I know, right? For 1963, yeah.
That's true. That's kind of
Yeah.
progressive. All right.
I think Sean Connery was probably anti-racist, but super pro misogyny.
Yeah, that makes sense.
as did seem to be a lot of quote-unquote liberal men back in the 60s.
Well, the 60s were a different time.
Yeah. Speaking of the dollop earlier, I just listened. They did a 2-part episode about Albert Einstein.
Okay. Oh, God.
And it's mostly that, he was a genius and he was a Jew and misunderstood and was just hated across the world, but also just terrible to women.
Yeah.
Just fucking awful.
That sucks.
But then also, towards the end of his life, was super anti-racist.
Okay.
And just spoke out a lot about how white people are terrible, but still just awful to women.
Interesting.
Till his dying day.
Oh, the dollop.
Yep.
AKA, everything you love is terrible.
Yep. The George Lazenby episode is pretty good, though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I believe he himself was bisexual, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. At least from what I recall in the documentary, so.
Gotcha. All right. But yeah, I enjoyed watching this.
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, it's like I said, it's too long.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of fun stuff. The stuff that's bad made me smile because it's bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't hate having watched this.
That's good. I also don't hate having watched it again, but it definitely dropped a few notches for me.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's my own opinion.
Yeah.
You did not influence it in any way.
No,
the movie did.
I know.
The movie presented itself to me.
It's not like I'm sorry that I did something to you.
No,
I'm sorry that this experience ruined and otherwise good feelings that you had for the movie. But you're right, the movie did it to itself.
Yeah. So yeah, just again, 26 of these things. Some are good, some are bad.
Yeah.
Some of the bad ones are way worse than this one, so it all works out.
Perfectly middling.
Yep. Yeah. But, having watched them in order, yeah, probably the second to bottom at this point.
Okay.
But, with further movies, it'll probably raise up a little bit.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
But I feel Thunderball is probably going to stay near the bottom. God, did I hate that experience.
Oh. Is there anything happening that you didn't hate this week? or that's bringing you happiness this week?
Oh, boy. I read 2 issues in a row of Peacemaker Tries Hard,
mm-hmm.
The DC comic by Kyle Starks and Steve Pugh, and I found them to be delightful.
Yeah, I've only read the first issue of that series, but I loved it.
I'm calling it Series of the Year.
Wow.
Issue 3 features the return of a superhero you and I both have a fondness for.
Excellent.
And issue 4 features the return of a supervillain that Mr. Jason Young and I have a fondness for.
Ooh, okay. All right.
And they are hilarious delights.
Excellent.
There is also a sequence in issue 3 in which I took pictures of each panel and sent it to my girlfriend and said, "Oh, it's me." Where Peacemaker is basically just saying, "Hey, I'm figuring out that nobody likes me and I may be an asshole."
Oh, no.
It's like, oof, that I feel that.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm here to tell you that that's not true.
Well, you can say it all you like.
Fair enough. I get that too.
I will believe you on occasion.
All right. Honestly, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. It's like a couple weeks ago, you and I went to a comic store and somehow got into a conversation with the owner about me being an artist, and he asked me if I was any good.
Yeah.
And I didn't answer him.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I was like, sometimes I think so, sometimes not.
Yeah.
Today I'm fucking great, asshole.
Just what a rude question to ask.
It's not great.
Yeah. Dumbass.
You want to ask me if I'm good at my church job? I'll tell you, yeah, because I don't ultimately care about that.
Right.
Because my level is, am I fired? No? Okay, I'm doing great.
Hell yeah. The check's still cash.
Yep. What about you, sir?
Oh boy. I am semi-dog sitting for my brother and his family this week.
All right.
So I am sort of splitting my time between my house with my dog, and then going over to their house and letting her out of her crate. Her name is Ruby.
Oh.
She's a very good girl. And yeah, so I've been going over there in the mornings and taking my computer with me and working in the morning and hanging out with her, and then going home and then hanging out with Pippin and then sort of going back and forth. And I mean, it's been exhausting.
Sure.
But it's also been real nice to have double the dogs in my life. So dogs making me happy this week.
You know what? I'm here for it.
And every week, really.
Oh, sure, dogs can be great.
Yeah.
I don't have one myself, obviously.
Yeah, you're a cat guy.
I'm a cat guy, but I like other people's dogs.
Yeah.
Especially if they like me.
That's key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've had a good relationship with most of my friends' dogs in the past, so.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I have an ex-girlfriend. I wish to God I would have stolen her dog.
Yeah.
Because he was the best.
Yeah, my brother's dog just loves me, so that's nice too.
Yeah.
Like, all she wants is just pets and to jump on me, which not so much the jumping, that's bad, Ruby.
Yeah.
But otherwise, because she's a big dog, she's a golden doodle.
Okay.
Like golden doodle mix.
Yeah.
So like she's all gray.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's a big dog. She could jump up on my shoulders if she really tried.
Wow.
So yeah.
My girlfriend has a Labradoodle.
Okay.
And yeah, he is also big, and he also enjoys the jumping and thinks he's a lap dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is not.
No, not at all.
He's too big for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just for me being not a guy who has a dog, whenever I meet someone else's dog and they like me instantly, it's just the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, dogs are good judges of character.
Yeah, like a couple months ago, I was kind of helping my girlfriend out. Like just kind of going to her house when I got off work to make sure her kids got home on time and safely, and also to let the dog out because she had been cooped up from like 6 a.m. to whenever.
Yeah,
and even when a dog knows you, if you come to the door, like they will just start barking.
Oh sure.
He never did.
Aw.
And he would come to the door and just immediately just start wagging his tail, and like I could see him through the little window, and it was just the best feeling in the world.
That's awesome.
Just like somebody does love me.
That is wonderful.
And I kind of get that from Chaco a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a very. He's one of the few cats I've ever known that isn't food oriented.
Okay.
Whereas, like if I come home and I have food in my hand, I can put it down and know that it's pretty safe.
Yeah.
From him, like getting into it.
Yeah.
Because all he wants to do is follow me wherever I'm going.
Right.
And make sure that I am paying attention to him. And the only reason he gets into my food is because I am not paying attention to him at that moment.
Yeah.
But he also is at the door every single day when I get home.
That's really nice.
Yeah. But then also, he's small and he's black and he's in the way.
Yeah.
And he's going to kill me someday.
Right. But then he'll eat you. He'll eat your face.
It's true.
Because he loves you.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Yeah. I mean, there are worse ways to go.
Yeah. It's true. I don't know, actually. Now I'm thinking about it.
I mean, at least I will sustain my cat.
Yeah, that's true.
For a couple weeks.
That's true.
Because no one will come and check on me.
Oh, come on.
Anyhow.
Should I pick a movie?
You should.
Want to watch a Transformer?
Sure.
Did you see Transformers Rise of the Beasts?
I had not.
Let's fucking watch Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
I've heard it's kind of okay.
I heard from the commercial for Transformers Rise of the Beasts that it's the best Transformers movie yet. And if I can't trust the commercial for the movie, who can I trust?
As a reputable source.
Exactly. Plus, I want to see gorilla robots.
Well, sure. Who doesn't? I am down for that.
Excellent.
Okay.
Alright, Transformers 6? 7? I don't know.
No clue.
Rise of the Beasts.
I lost track after 2, and then Bumblebee.
Bumblebee's so good.
It is good.
Go back and listen to our episode about Bumblebee.
Yeah.
And let us know if the episode we did was any good.
It wasn't.
Because the movie was really good.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I think we can safely say about all of our episodes versus the movie.
I don't know.
Okay, some like 13 fanboy. Our episode is much better.
I feel like this episode's gone pretty well.
Yeah, it's probably better than On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
And I can also safely say that we come in much shorter.
Excellent.
than most of the movies.
Well, I'm going to ski home. We'll be back next week to talk about Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to The Viewmasters. You can subscribe to the show directly at our website, view.guttertrash.net, or on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit our website at view.guttertrash.net for information about our Twitter and Instagram. Once again, thank you for listening to The Viewmasters. We'll see you next time.